Hello besties, today we are doing a beach ball tumbler tutorial. I am so excited to teach you guys how to make this cup, but before that, let me welcome you to our YouTube channel and all our social media platforms where you can find us under Misfit Makers. Make sure to click that subscribe button so you can be notified of any new tutorials and content, and please check out our website. Okay, so I'm gonna go pretty fast here. This is a dimensional drinks sphere, so you can find this on their website. They come 3D printed, white, and ready to fit a shorty from the Steel Magnolia. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm using these rubber bands to create my sections. There may be a bazillion other ways to do this, but let me tell you, I just winged it. I wish I had the time to tell you guys the story, how this came to me, but basically I'm using the rubber bands to create this little star shape and get these lines about the same. Remember guys, you can only see one side of the beach ball at a time, so don't overthink it and just put your lines as straight as can be. Next, I'm using a pencil to mark where my lines are. If you notice, I'm doing the outside of the rubber band going the same way. That way all your sections stay the same size. Make sure your rubber bands are nice and straight, right where you want them. Make sure they're equal-ish so they don't bother you. But if you have another way, let me know. I believe there might be some stencils out there, but this was the quickest way that I thought, and it worked out great. Next, I'm using a electrical tape to line up my sections. I use electrical tape over painter's tape because it's more flexible, and as you see, this sphere has a nice curve, so those lines don't go completely straight. So take out your electrical tape and tape off every other section. So as you notice here, I am putting my tape on the outside of the lines where I'm going to paint. So right after taping it up, I'm using my pop of color in the color mint green to go ahead and paint my sections. I did one coat, but if you need to do 2 coats, go ahead. I just needed one. I needed a nice base for it. After you're done painting your green sections or your colored sections, make sure that it dries really well. My white sections, I left them white. No need to paint them as they are staying white. But if you desire it to be a different color, then absolutely go ahead and paint them. After it dries or before it dries, you want to remove your tape, let it dry. And next we're going to apply the decals. I'm applying the name, and I'm applying the other decal that says Fab 5 and the Cabo 2023. You can leave them completely empty, or you can put a name. You can do whatever you want. The sky's the limit. This was for a girls trip, and I wanted to make sure that everybody had their last name on there and the trip year. It's like our little souvenir cup. It was my turn this year, so I figured that this would be your little souvenir cup. Okay, so after you apply your decals on there, I also applied vinyl striping to my sections right there. As you can see, you could still see the pencil marks, so I wanted to cover those with the vinyl strips. Plus, I feel like it looks cleaner. So after all this, I epoxied my sleeve one time. Again, still working off the tumbler, but if you desire to adhere to your tumbler first, then epoxy the whole thing, you absolutely can. As you can see here, it has a glitter sparkle. I wanted it to look like it was completely glittered, especially the white section, because the white section is going to stay plain. The colored sections are going to be blinged. So after I applied 1 or 2 coats of epoxy on my tumbler, I went ahead and lightly sanded the green sections because that's where my rhinestones are going to go. Mind you guys, this is the last step of your cup. Well, in my case, I still had to adhere the sleeve to the tumbler. But rhinestones need to be the last step of any cup. Like, you don't need to add another coat of epoxy over your cup because epoxy will dull the rhinestone bling. So when you are doing any rhinestone project, rhinestones should always be the last step. Should never put epoxy over it. just getting that out there. So here I am working on my rhinestones. I am using my favorite tool, which is the katana from Crystal Ninja, and I'm using some stones from FabCap, I believe stones. I will list them in the description. And I just did the scattered method and completed the whole tumbler or all the colored sections. That's why I painted them green, because I knew my stones were going to be green. So if there's any little gaps, they will be very invisible because it's all green. And here she is, all rhinestone. Look how beautiful. It took about 45 minutes per section. And here I am with all of my balls. Ah, aren't they beautiful? I am obsessed. Okay, next we're going to adhere our sleeves into our tumbler. If I were to do this again, I would have adhered my sleeve before I epoxied it. That way it could all be nice and sealed. But because I was in a little rush and I was still learning, I decided to keep this as my last step. So what I'm demonstrating here is that I'm mixing some epoxy, and I'm going to put the epoxy inside of the sleeve and on the tumbler itself. And as you see, all my tumblers are facing down on a silicone pad. I want my sleeve to slide down because I want there to be like a little silver gap, as you can see at the bottom, because these cups are going to be at the pool, they're going to be at the beach, they're going to be manhandled a little bit. My balls are going to be manhandled. Wow. Okay. They're going to be a little jostled. And we're going on a girls trip. They're going to go through some crazy things. So I wanted to keep my stainless steel bottom so it would take all the brunt, all the impact, and it wouldn't mess with the actual sleeve and work. So anyway, here I am taking my time, spreading it nice around my tumbler and inside the sleeve. Make sure that you don't get any epoxy on the outside so it doesn't get on your stones. But here I am, look. It's so satisfying. They just slip down. If you don't have any issues with your, people being careful with the cup, you could always apply your sleeve going the right way with the opening towards the top. But like I said, I wanted that little sliver of silver to be exposed. And look at me. Here I am with my balls. Look how cute they're. After they cure, obviously, they're ready to go. So here's the yellow one, the blue one. It's supposed to be purple, but it turned out blue. The pink for my Jessica. The blue for Miss Lively. The green for Miss Hamilton. And guess what, guys? This was a pleasant surprise. They float. And of course, they spin. They were a hit in Mexico. They were a hit for our girls' trip. I hope this inspired to make your own beach balls. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for always supporting us and for subscribing to our channel. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you could be notified next time. See you guys next time.